Welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me, as always, our resident football expert and who has been on vacation for the last month. Glad to have you back, Tate Mathews. I've got a little bit of the crud, so you're going to have to bail me out today, brother.
It's going around, bro. It's that time of year, but we will hashtag fight through it, right?
There you go. All right,
hashtag 361.
361 from today. Let's talk about football. Let's wrap it up. Unfortunately, since the last time we were on the show, we had 3 teams left. We have 0 teams left now. State championship was last weekend. Let's kind of talk about what happened. In round 3, Fairview at Pearl-Cohn. We knew that was a tall task. Final score of that game was Pearl-Cohn 41-17. However, that score was pretty close all the way through about midway to the third quarter into the fourth, and just Pearl-Cohn kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, they have, we kind of talked about it going into the playoffs. They weren't going to see speed like that, and I think towards the end of the game, it kind of, if you give those guys a seam, especially fourth quarter, you're tired, hard-fought game, and those guys, if they get a seam, they're going to go the distance, and, tough to do, but the year they had, a great year. You knew they were going to have to play perfect to beat Pearl-Cohn, and they didn't. But still, great year. Darius James, what an unbelievable year. I believe he ended up being Mr. Football finalist, correct?
That's correct.
In 3A. So
as well as the young man from Pearl-Cohn.
That's right.
And then
Jamarius Parker.
And then the kid from
Raleigh,
Egypt. Yes, that's correct.
Right. So.
Just to make
we can. I got a little bit of a soapbox about the Mr. Football this year, but anyway.
By all means,
that's
please.
one of them. I mean, I don't know. Well, it's just I just some of the ones. I don't know what these. You've got sports writers basically from the east to the west, and I get it. You can't see all of them, but if you're going to be on that committee, I think you need to be educated on it. And so I'm willing to bet that some of the people from Memphis voted for the Raleigh Egypt kid, and they never saw Jamarius Parker or Darius James play. And again, it's a great honor just to be a finalist, right? Whether you win it or not. But I just don't. There were some of them that it's almost like they. You remember the standardized testing? You go down the A. It's almost like some of them.
You eventually get some of them right?
That's right. It's like some of them did it just for the players in their area. So I know the D2 AA one. That one didn't make any sense. But anyways,
that wasn't your strategy on the ACT, was it?
No, it was no. I'm just kidding.
Well, you're right. Top 18 kids, man.
But
classifications.
Jamarius and Darius, great players, different players, but great players. And remember, Darius missed the first game, so
that's a great point.
He would have been over 100 yards there, a couple touchdowns.
He had 1,700 all-purpose yards. Right. You make the final 3, you make the finalist on this thing. You're in the top 18. 6 classifications, top 18 kids in the state in that sport, in football. We've never had a finalist from Fairview in that 3A level. I mean, hats off to him and his career and the year that he's had for Fairview.
And his offensive line blocking for him, because without them, those 1,700 yards aren't possible.
Fairview finishes 9-4, and arguably they go through the undefeated season a year ago. This team arguably is better than that team, if you ask me.
I think so.
You look at their strength of schedule, who they've played, their quality of wins. You got Ravenwood in there. Yes, they did lose to Page in that Battle of 840 game at the first of the year, but they bounced back. Once again, you mentioned this, you alluded to this. That game was without Darius James. They played Ravenwood, lost to Ravenwood, and I look forward to seeing not only them play Ravenwood, but I feel like they need to play as many of those teams. Maybe the Nolensville gets on the schedule with them. Maybe, they continue the Page rival, obviously. But this team, for Coach Hughes, 9-4, very successful season.
Without a doubt. And you look at next year, who knows about Alcoa in 3A, right? But the only way you see Alcoa is if you're in Cookeville. But Pearl-Cohn loses a lot of players, They lose Parker. They lose the quarterback, Xavier Shepard, a couple of the receivers. So, they were right there. They're going to be right there again next year. And I really think if they can just get past that quarterfinal, they got a really good chance of one of these years getting to Cookeville. Who knows? Hopefully it'll be next year.
All right, Old Sparty, what a year they've had. They finish out the year with a record of 10-3. That's a school record. Obviously, they make it into the quarterfinals of the playoffs. The winner of the beach game gets to play the winner of Brighton-Henry, which was Henry County beat Brighton for a chance.
No, Brighton beat Henry County.
Brighton beat Henry County to get into Cookeville into the state championship game. Now, Beach came in the number 1 team in 5A. Obviously, Ty Carter's injured, out on the sidelines. Ethan Cash makes an appearance back. This game, what a game! If you could go back in time, they played. Yeah. I mean, you play that first half of the unknowns. The kids were a little bit out in sea, over their head, just a little bit. You could tell nerves were coming in, doing things they hadn't done. Now, I will give a little bit of credit, or more so credit, to the Beach team, because obviously at this point in time they're creating the lack of offense and lack of energy that they're having because they're playing such a good defense. They're a good team. But they come back and they start to realize that they can play with this team.
Right.
Matter of fact, they have a series with 3 minutes to go. They have to get a stop. Summit just scored to make it 21-16. They get a stop, 3 and out. They punt it. Summit gets the ball back. Now, here we go. 2nd down, 10. They throw a bomb to George Odomegwu. One-on-one coverage. He reaches up to get the ball, middle of the field. The ball was on the money. Trips and falls. No flag. Now, incidental contact, whatever. The microscope is on this back judge who is looking directly at the play. Now, whether he just swallowed his whistle or it was incidental contact, I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, that was 6 points.
That's tough, and that's tough to swallow, isn't it?
It's tough to swallow.
I don't know if I think a lot of times what they're doing is, in my opinion, and the guru, Murphy Fair, I heard him say this, we got a shortage of referees anyways, so we need to be nice to these referees. I mean, these guys are trying, but we got to get better at it. There were a lot of calls this year that were a little bit questionable, but I think the biggest thing is they're following the ball. You know what I'm saying? That's what you end up, right? That's your natural reaction, is to follow the ball. But if this is what you're supposed to be watching, you need to be watching this. But anyways,
and I don't want to down the ref. I mean, because the fact of the matter is you had more plays in this game to win the game.
It never comes down to one play.
But when it comes down, I mean, this is game changing right here. You score right here, you win the ball game. You go up 22-21, pick extra point 23-21 with a minute and a half to go. That's pretty awesome. I take my chances with that, right? Now, the running back for Beach, exceptional running back.
Came and done that.
Coach Crabtree and his staff, great job with Beach. They did beat Henry County. They went on into the state championship game on the 5A level and got beat by Knox Catholic, which everybody thought,
wow.
You know, how they're not in D2, I don't understand that, but whatever. Cade Mays, he was a Mr. Football finalist for 5A.
Did you watch that game?
As well as Ty Carter. That is a man.
That's a man. That's a grown man.
Let's go back to Summit Beach for just a moment. You're right. The referees have got to get better, not down them. But there was 15 of them out there.
That's right.
During the playoffs. This guy's one-on-one.
You would hope those things wouldn't get missed.
He's got one-on-one coverage with this particular play. It's not like there's been a lot of passes throughout the night, right? Because Beach, I mean, that was a fast game. Beach don't throw it.
That's
and
right.
Coach Coleman's not looking to throw it. He throws, I'm telling you, he has him on his hip. Inside pass, one-on-one coverage, no safety. I mean, it was 6. Now, I don't know the rules as well as you do on the incidental contact. They say if you trip, as long if you're going up the ball and you trip on the feet, that's fine as long as their hands are not on them. Maybe he didn't see it. I don't know. From our angle, Coach Kirby's angle and myself standing there on the sideline, we had a pretty good angle. And
did you let him know about it?
I was professional about it. I can't say the same about Coach
Kirby.
Kirby.
That's wrong. That's kind of where I was going. Well, here's what I think. Let me say this, and I was one of them included. And you can't be any bigger on the Eric Coleman bandwagon than I am, right? I don't think a whole lot of people gave Summit much of a chance in this game. Outside of the people in that locker room, and then to lose to them 21-16, and Beach is a dang good football team. They were undefeated going to that game. Obviously, they finished 14-1 with their loss to Catholic, and a really good football program. So you look back just 3 years ago at Summit, and to think they won 10 games. 10. Now look down. How many people in the conference won 10 games? 2, right? They're one of only 2 schools in the conference
3,
to win.
Brentwood, Ravenwood.
Brentwood won 10-2, that's right. So 10 games, and we're, as you mentioned, a play away from going to the semifinals of the 5A state championship, state playoffs. man, that's unbelievable. That just goes to show how far this program has come. And like I said, the thing that there are no moral victories, but the fact that they were that close, could have won it. I think that really opened a lot of people's eyes because Beach is a dang good football team, and you can tell they've turned the corner there. Now they're going to lose some players this year, but they got a lot coming back, and it's just they've got a winning culture going on there now. It's really neat to see. And back to the what ifs, you just hate to say it, but
man.
I mean,
If
you look at that
if
game.
he plays,
if he
this
plays,
game,
they're in Cookeville.
they're in Cookeville. Now, hard to say whether or not they win the gold ball or not, but it doesn't matter. I'll take the silver ball.
That's right.
For the first trip. Knox Catholic being really, really good, but I just your chances are so good with that guy on the team, with Ty Carter on the field. Speaking of Ty Carter, up for finalists as well, Mr. Football. First time ever in Summit history, we have a finalist up there. He was in an extremely tough category.
Maybe the toughest.
I thought overall it was the best category as far as talent pool goes. Cade Mays, Knox Catholic, was committed to UT. And let me tell you, I'm going to say it again, that dude is a man. And remind me of the other finalist.
I can't remember who got it. It was.
And we're sitting here bragging about how good the
Was
competition
Spring Hill? It wasn't Dante Smith, was it?
Yes, actually it was Dante Smith. Georgia Tech commit, thank you.
Yeah.
But just to be on the stage with those guys, being in there, being a finalist, congratulations, hats off to Ty Carter.
Big time year, man. Very proud of him and excited to see where he continues his athletic career because it will be somewhere.
Odumegwu coming back.
Stepped up big
1,500
time.
yards total for this year. Cash coming back at quarterback. You're getting some kids from the – now, I'm getting getting a little bit ahead here. Got some kids, some possible athletes coming from the middle school at Spring Station that are really, really good athletes that are maybe ahead of the curve. Peyton Craig, great career for him. Hate to see it finish that way. They really, really keyed on Peyton that night. Whenever Peyton got the ball, it was just all the holes were plugged. It was like one of those things. They were not going to let Peyton get any yards, and they really, really keyed on him. But what a career he had, over 1,000 yards as well his senior year. Pieces of the puzzle are back.
Without a doubt. They've turned the corner. I mean, obviously, but this isn't a one-year thing.
I don't think so either.
It's going to be fun to watch next year.
Ravenwood, what can you say about Coach Matt Daniels and the job he's done in first year? Finishes at 10-2. They play Cane Ridge in just a sickening style game of they could have been easily not only been there but competing for the state championship against Maryville. Cane Ridge returns a punt on them with how much time left? 3 or 4 minutes left to kind of take the lead.
Kickoff. It was a kickoff.
Kickoff, excuse me. 21-18. Cane Ridge beats and eliminates Ravenwood.
Oh man, they had them. Had them. And look, you hear that's where we kind of laugh about coaches and their cliches, but you always hear there's 3 phases of the game, right? And the kicking game is one of them. And kickoff, they score, they go up late in the fourth quarter, and then I believe a little bit of a miscommunication on the kickoff, and end up kicking it to probably their best player, which you can't do, and he got loose and took it back. Man, what a heartbreaker! But they were same thing as Summit. They were really that close to being in the semifinals. I believe that had Ravenwood made it, they would have beat Whitehaven and gone on to play Maryville. And I personally think Ravenwood, not to take anything away from Cane Ridge, because look at who Cane Ridge beat in the playoffs to get there. They beat Brentwood to get there. They beat Ravenwood to get there, and they beat Whitehaven. So obviously a great football team. They did a great job. I feel like Ravenwood matched up better with Maryville than Cane Ridge did. So, but hey, you got to close it out, and we were 2 of them. But you think back to the beginning of the year, I think we both said that who's going to get left out in the sports conference of the 6A, and we picked Ravenwood, I believe. Well,
we sure did.
Shows what we knew.
And we've told him many times. He reminds us of it quite frequently.
Well,
I don't blame him. Hey, outside looking in, Ravenwood's going to be out. We felt like it could go either way to win the region from all 4 of the remaining teams. How wrong were we on that?
Big time wrong.
That's why we don't have a guru tag.
That's
to us,
right. That's why neither one of us the guru. But unbelievable job, and I think a lot of it. Although he'll deflect it, but I think a lot of it goes to Coach Daniels. He changed
the culture.
He changed the culture in the locker room and on the practice field. And then, we were talking to him a few weeks ago on the radio, And he brought in Chandler Tigert as offense coordinator. He had never been an offense coordinator; he was a defense coordinator, and he even talked about how some people kind of questioned him on that. Are you sure you want to do that? And obviously, that turned out very well, and his staff did a great job. And then, all the kids that stood up and stepped up, and then, the dual quarterback with Garcia and Stallcup, and then Stallcup kind of being a utility knife, playing all three positions, and it was just a fun season, man. And they literally came up a kickoff return short of going to the semifinals, but 10 wins and great first year for Coach Daniels and the Ravenwood Raptors.
So Cane Ridge goes on. They play Whitehaven in the semis, win that game to get into the state championship on the 6A side. Maryville defeats Cane Ridge in the 6A state championship 42-7. Knox Catholic defeats Beach 45-28 in the 5A game. In the 4A game, Greenville defeats Springfield 54-13. I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Dustin Wilson for getting there and getting the silver ball.
Great job.
In the 3A, Alcoa defeats Covington 31-20. I mentioned that because we span across all 4 of those classifications, and let me tell you, I never knew how much you miss winning until you go.
Not there.
You get it. Okay, so this is the first time in 4 years we've had it snapped of not going there. Just being there is fine. Silver ball, gold ball. Obviously, when you get there, you want to win it, right? Silver ball is just as good, not as good, but it's close. But just being there and seeing this on the television and seeing all the Twitter feeds coming out and all this stuff, it really.
It's probably why you're sick today.
Yeah, it hurts my soul, and I have yet to recover. But
I tell you one thing we got to do.
Hashtag 361, buddy.
Here's one thing we got to do. What do all 4 of those have in common that you just mentioned?
East Tennessee.
East Tennessee. We got to get that fixed.
2 of those are open zoned.
Yes.
And 1 is a private.
Yes.
We're not going to get into that debate right now.
It'd be a good one.
Greenville actually is in proximity of the 2 open zone schools, which is interesting.
Right.
But they stand alone. Rural school, whoever their coach is, congratulations, hats off. Won it the right way.
Yeah. His son was the quarterback, Kane and Cade Ballard.
And I believe he's coming back.
I do not know. I hope not. Whew,
So
he was good.
Good teams, all East Tennessee teams there. One in those 4 classifications. In the single A and double A, I'm not exactly sure where those. The only Middle Tennessee ball that came out this was on the private sector, right?
Yes, and we got 2 of them. But single A was Greenback. They defeated Cornersville, right down from your old neck of the woods. And then 2A was probably, it wasn't the cleanest played game, but the most exciting game, the closest game. Union City defeated Tyner in double overtime.
So it's a West Tennessee ball.
Yes.
1 West.
And then it was, if you were there, you got to see it. I don't know if they put it on TV, but Chattanooga Tyner got beaten over double overtime. And then their parents got to bickering in the stands, and it turned into a brawl that took about 10 minutes to break up.
It's always fun to come back, not only with a silver ball, but with some silver handcuffs. I mean, there's nothing like it. So the WCS Sports Conference finishes the year 64-30. Still something to be proud about, man. Our overall record above 500 has always been well. We talk about that every year. I keep up with that week to week. I take pride in that. It's our teams, our coaches, from top to bottom, our fans. We can't thank everybody enough. Our media that comes out and covers us. We have great media, including yourself, that takes care of us and puts us over the top. All of our media outlets here in the county, Williamson Source, Williamson Herald, all the homepage groups, just do top, just great coverage for us, week in and week out.
Great fan bases, great crowds.
I mean, I would argue with anybody that our coverage, our fan base, our ticket sales, nobody can touch us.
I would agree. I've told you. I mean, and it has not gone unnoticed in the surrounding counties. So, and there's a lot to go into it. Like I said.
Now, you say they noticed that, right? They probably are high-fiving each other that nobody was there this past weekend.
Quite possible. Hey, well, the higher up the flagpole, right?
But you know what I like about that is the fact that you can see the elation on the Cane Ridge's coach's face, because they had to beat not 1 but 2 Williamson County teams to get there. 3, Brentwood, Ravenwood,
Centennial.
and Centennial to get there. And finally they got over the hump. Matter of fact, on the broadcast, they were talking about that on the TV. Had to go through Williamson County, and Williamson County right now is carrying the banner for everybody as far as Middle Tennessee athletics go, and particularly football. And I thought that was pretty interesting that he said that. And
Very nice compliment.
So thank you to everybody that kept up with the football this year. We will give you football information as we go along. We'll talk about it a little bit along the way between now, but it is your favorite sport. It is now basketball time.
That's right.
Can't wait to talk basketball, WCS Sports Conference basketball. So we're going to get into that a little bit briefly today. We're going to talk boys basketball this week. We'll get into girls basketball next week, and then we'll get into our pick'ems and start having our coaches preview shows. On the boys side right now, Brentwood coming out of the gates really hot right off the bat. 6-1. Coach Shirley and his group, they're 1-0. Picked up a huge win. Early season, pre-Christmas win at Franklin. That's going to pay off huge dividends down the road when it comes to seeding time at the end of the year. They are 6-1 currently, 1-0 in district play. They beat Franklin 56-55 in a thriller. Reese Glover right now, hottest name going in WCS Sports Conference in the Middle Tennessee area. He's averaging roughly around 30 points a game.
30 points a game, and it's my understanding he went scoreless in the first period the other night against Brentwood, and then ended up with, I believe, 34. But yeah, a guy that can score in bunches, man,
and a guard at that, not a big guy.
That's right. But I heard he can. I'm going soon, but he's doing it from 3-point land. But he's also developed a little bit of I don't know, kind of take it to the rack, and then maybe a little bit of
a little floater.
Little floater. He's a kid that can score, and never met a shot he didn't like, right? But that fits right into Coach Joins. You remember if you used to watch his teams at Beach, man, they always had shooters, and hey, don't lay off if he's out by that 3-point line, don't lay off him because he'll pull up and pop it there. But I think that was an overtime game, which I know that's at least the second overtime. Coach Joins and the Rebels, they find a lot of overtime games, man. So anytime you go to watch them play, you're pretty much guaranteed for an exciting game. But I can't wait for the second round of that one. But that's a big early conference win for Coach Shirley and his Bruins. And although they lost a lot of guys, if you talk to him in the summer and throughout the fall, which you have, you can tell he feels really good about this team. He's still got some really good players back. And
well, speaking of losing players, look at what Brentwood lost. I mean, they lost a lot of length and size and ability. Kellen King leading that team last year, averaging double-digit points. Christian LaBreche, Reed Smith holding down the post spots for those guys.
Pretty good ones.
Man, size. But what do they bring back? They bring back David Winley, who played kind of somewhat of the guard last year at the one spot, off guard a little bit at the two spot. Now he's going to be pretty much taking over as handling the ball. He's leading them in scoring right now. Jack Thurman was a part of that team at the starting five. It was really good. Harry Lackey, sophomore. Remember that name. I've said this all the way along. He's getting better. He's getting better. He's getting better. He's had a growth spurt in the summer. He's sitting at about 6'5", 6'6". He keeps going with guard tendencies. Nice soft hands, can shoot it. This kid can play.
Yep. Big win for them. I can't wait for round 2.
Centennial right now sitting at 1-5, 0-1. Now, don't let that fool you. Centennial's gotten closer. They've closed the gap on these games. They're going to beat people that are not supposed to beat before this year's out, and they're going to be a tough outcome district tournament. They did lose to Page the other night. Page gets their first AAA win in the district. 53-50. Trey Carlton, he's another super soft right now. If we had a super soft team, he's a sophomore for Centennial. Hayden Pearson, as well as the Hainsworth kid, that would be Albert's son, playing now for Coach Froden and Centennial Cougars.
Pretty neat. That's a big win for Page and Coach No. Now he's got wins over Centennial and Laverne. That's fun to watch. But you talked about Centennial's going to pick off people as the year goes on. Remember what they did in the struggled last year, and remember what happened came district tournament time. That they will get better and better, and they have a lot of football kids too. So I don't think he wants to win them all. Don't get me wrong, but he's much more worried about how they're playing into February than right now.
Fairview's got a new coach. Trey McCoy replaces Jarrett Jones. Coach Jones obviously went to Independence. We'll talk about him in just a moment. But they have 3 wins right now. Colioca, Santa Fe, Nashville Christian. They have played Summit. Summit beat them 20+. Summit, really good team, obviously. That's something that goes back between the scheduling when Coach Jones was there, and I'm sure Coach McCoy is saying thanks. But
Appreciate that.
Be interesting to see how many wins he can get. He's got some size. He's got some kids that can play. So I think in that district that they're going to be in on the 2A level, they're going to be pretty good. Franklin, we've already spoken about them. Now, I want you to look at their schedule real quick. They are 4-2. They beat Hillsboro, Lausanne, and Stratford already. 3 high-quality wins, Tate.
Yes.
Big-time wins. Coach Joins, DJ, he schedules well. He's lost East Nashville. East Nashville's one of the favorite in 2A to win state championship this year. Obviously, they lost in overtime to Brentwood. Reese Glover, Evan Sigler, don't forget him, can shoot it, can fill it up. Jack Patton, they beat Giles County this week already, 75-41. Running that patented 1-3-1 defense. We could go on and on. I'm starting to feel better right now.
Billy didn't know what to do, did he?
Billy Ball. It's hard to run the scout team against a 1-3-1 when we're sitting from back from a chair rolling the balls out. But you know what? 75-41, Franklin rolls. Independence, still looking for the first win under Coach Jones. Now, let's not fool ourselves. We lost Patrick Murphy 2 years ago. Grayson Murphy this year.
Yeah.
That's just the Murphy brothers are gone. I can keep
There's
naming
40 points right there.
Right. I mean, what are you thinking? So now. You've got to feel the ground. Hey, Mac is back. Mac's back at the one spot. Greg's also gone that ran the one spot for him last year a little bit too. Corbin Daughtry's gone, 6'6" kid inside. They're trying to refigure out what's going on. Coach Jones will have them playing well before it's over with. In point in case, they played Ravenwood this week. Ravenwood always comes out of the gate hot. They're always a little bit ahead of the game before people can catch up with them because of their off-season stuff that Coach Whitlock has. They beat Independence 58-52. That goes to show you right there. They're already getting better.
That's right, yeah. And Coach Whitlock was not happy about it at all. So, Coach Jones will be fine. He knows what to do. They've lost a lot of people. And
Mac James is good, though.
Mac James is a guy, he's quick as a cat now.
All right, Nolensville, we got 1 minute. We're going to have to stop at Nolensville. We'll get to Page, Ravenwood, and Summit next week. Nolensville 2-4 wins at East Hickman and Overton. They have already played Summit twice. 2 very, very close games. Lost both games by a combined 12 points. Blowdorn. Remember that last name. That young man is an OVC player waiting to happen. They better get on the boat right now. Coach Ayers, assistant coach at Belmont under Rick Bird, you better come in here and go ahead and get the papers out. Casey at Alexander at Lipscomb, get him out. You're not going to get him because I'm telling you he's going to creep into a Power 5, possibly. Now, people are going to be going nuts and say,
good basketball name, too.
They're just like, man, you're getting, just wait. This kid can play. He's got the body to play. He's got the skills to play. I think he's got an opportunity. He would be an absolute diamond in the rough in an OVC school.
Nolensville is going to be a force in their region because they're playing.
They played a tough region, man.
Oh, I know.
Giles, Marshall, CPA.
They lost to Brentwood too, and I believe was it 13 or 14, and they missed 14 free throws. Again, you got to make those, but they're competing with some really, really tough AAA teams.
All right, Patriots, don't be too mad with us. We'll come back and start with you next week. We'll finish up with Ravenwood Summit. Guess what? Summit's 5-0.
No surprise there.
Mr. Producer, what errors do we have this week?
All right, guys, I didn't catch too many errors. One big omission that we had didn't include WCTV on the media that covers WCS Sports Conference. We love being out there. Hey, and since we got to promote ourselves, apparently, check out the sports shorts we're doing on basketball now.
Absolutely top quality. My sickness is, hey, forgive me on that. Are you kidding me? WCTV, the job those guys do. The sports shorts now coming out every week. Fantastic. Make sure you watch it. Thanks for joining us on WCS Sports Connection. I'll sound better next time. We'll see you.